Welcome to the Global Fantasy Sports Forum, and we are here to look at some of the best players to keep an eye out for in the opening round of the 2024 AFL season. And we've done part one, so it's a two-part series. We've done part one, it's on the channel now, so if you haven't done so, go and check it out. We look at some of the opening games. There's 4 games in total. We'll look at some players from the first 2 games, which is the Swans, the Demons, and the Lions and the Carlton Blues. But then we're going to now look in part 2 who we should keep an eye out for in the Suns and Richmond game and the Giants Collingwood game. So before we get into all of that, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to Global Fantasy Sports Forum if you're new. This is going to be a community for rookie and inexperienced players, as well as veteran and experienced players. I want any type of fantasy player to really come together and engage with each other, share some ideas. We're going to try and get the discussions and the topics flowing. You might have some tough decisions that you are thinking of making, but you're not sure. We're going to try and tackle most of those on a week-to-week basis. So subscribe now if you're new, and like the video, hit the thumbs up, as it helps the channel out greatly and helps the video do wonders as well. So great to have you guys here, and we'll get into it. Let's look at some of the key players to look out for the remaining fixtures of the Suns at Richmond, Giants, Collingwood. So for me, the Suns, there's quite a few players here. And for fantasy and Supercoach purposes, I think it would be really good to have a look at the likes of an Alex Sexton. Alex Sexton, if you look at his... where is he? Alex Sexton. I've actually got him in my team here. Alex Sexton, 382k. He only played 8 games and averaged only 25 points. At the moment, he's got 29% of fantasy teams owning him. But if we look at his preseason game against the Giants, he was absolutely killing it. He had 31 disposals, 11 marks, and he was on the field for 87% of the time. Alex Sexton, he could really be a superstar and a really big cash cow and money maker for a lot of teams this season. So, it'll be interesting to see if this was just a one-off, but I'm sure, against the Richmond Tigers, it will be really good to see how he performs and if he can maintain some sort of consistency there. And he doesn't need to really make a huge average. Like if he can average in the 80s and over, he'll already be a really, really good prospect for a lot of teams and to potentially cash out on. But if he can be even better than that, then that's going to be awesome. So really interested to see how he performs against Richmond. Another honourable mention for the Gold Coast Suns is Sam Flanders. Now, Sam Flanders is somebody who I've really tossed up having in my team. He had a strong end to 2023. I brought him in for the second half of the season. He was fantastic, and no surprise that players have 30% of teams have selected Sam Flanders. He averaged 90 points in 14 games. Still a young player, so he really broke out last year, and now he's priced at 809,000. But we'll see. Again, we'll see if it's a one-off. He's playing sort of around the half-forward midfield line, if I'm not mistaken. He had 83% time on ground, but didn't get as involved. Only had 16 disposals, 3 tackles, and went for 57 points. So that's something to keep an eye on. I might look to bring him back, we'll see, but definitely for fantasy, his price is quite up there. In terms of Supercoach, if we look here, Sexton is 133, and then we look at Flanders here. If we find his price, he's just under 500,000. So we'll definitely have an eye kept on him against Richmond. Now going on to Richmond's side, the player to keep an eye out for, I believe, would be Josh Gibcus. Now, Gibcus against Collingwood didn't really do too much. He didn't do great at all. He had 81% time on ground, only managed to get 8 disposals, 1 mark, 1 tackle. So he was just floating around, not doing too much. But at the end of the day, he's going to be what? Let's have a look. Josh Gibcus. $256,000. Only 15% has owned him, but I know I feel like a lot of there's a lot of hype around him in the fantasy and Supercoach community, and it looks like he's getting the time to play. So hopefully he'll be able to turn around and get some good results for Richmond. If we have a look at his let's have a look at the price for the Supercoach. So 156,000, but even though he's only been owned 100 or 15% in AFL Fantasy, a lot of teams have selected him for Supercoach. 52.6% have selected him for Supercoach. So is his game going to translate a lot better to one form of fantasy than the other? It'll be interesting to see there, because 52.6%, that is a lot. But 450,000, it's definitely worth the punt. So Josh Gibcus is going to be someone to keep an eye out for. Going to the Giants now. The Giants, I feel like they've had, they've got a few players to really keep an eye on. You got the youngsters of Aaron Cadman. Is he finally going to be able to contribute? You've also got Josh Fahey. I'm going to go with Harvey Thomas. Now, Harvey Thomas at the basement price, he's only 18, but in the preseason game, will be interesting to see if he gets any minutes going forward. But he was 75% time on ground. He had 66 points. He was a very busy man, or busy youngster, 14 disposals, but he had 6 tackles, which is really, really impressive. So really good to see there, and chipping in with 3 marks as well. For 66 points for his preseason debut, really interesting to see if he'll be able to get some game time going forward. But yeah, for 200k, he could also be a solid option, to just have as a potential cash cow. If we have a look at Thomas here, Harvey Thomas, 117,000. So there you go. So that's someone to look out for on the Giants end. And then lastly, for Collingwood, if we have a look into who now, I know a lot of people are looking into Finley McCrath, but for me, I want to try and do something different and look at Charlie Dean. Charlie Dean, he didn't play too much, but in his limited time, Charlie Dean, 37% time on ground, but he was busy, man. He grabbed 8 marks, and usually with those playing in the fence, you can usually pass around the back, but still 63 points with 37% time on ground. And yeah, he was. I'm not sure if what his job security is like. I don't know if he's going to be playing going forward. But 123,000 in Supercoach, and only 200,000 in AFL Fantasy. So that is my list of players to look out for. Let me know what you guys think. Is there anybody else that you guys are looking out for? Anybody you're interested in? The opening round is a great time to just really observe and really see who is ready for fantasy standards. And it'll be very interesting to try and maneuver and make changes as these games go along before round 1 and the whole actual fantasy season starts. But let me know in the comments below, who do you guys have an eye on, and discuss away. Take care.